What is up, and welcome to Ask DLF, Taco Tuesday, maybe Waffle Wednesday, maybe, depending on where you are watching this from. I am at Calvin and Hobby. I'm so pumped, as always, to be joined by Tyler Karp, the
legend,
infamous. I don't know, whatever you want to say.
Some people would say that I'm infamous. That much I can tell you. But
Tyler,
I
how
think
are you today? I don't want to belabor this. You've got an important announcement, and I don't know. I have no idea what this is. So
it's true. It's not going to be what you were thinking. I can tell you. It is actually an announcement about this show. I will be doing a special new feature. A feature in which, Ken Kelly came up with this article idea. This was not my idea. But I love this idea, so I decided we're going to do this. I'm going to take some of the questions that we don't get to. We get to all the questions, but there are some of these questions that are way too long.
Mm-hmm.
They're not meant for this show. You ask them, but we can't answer those. Like we can't answer some of these questions. We take the whole show to answer them. Big questions. So I'm going to take some of those, or anything that I pass on for any reason or whatever, I can go back and take them. And I'm going to write an article about that. Whether it's the best questions, the most interesting, or just the ones I didn't get to. So you're going to see that if you have to be a DLF member or subscriber, whatever you want to call it, in order to access those. And that's just going to be something that's coming up, a little bit of extra answers for the people who come in and ask questions live. We'll between that and the actual show, we'll really try to get to everything, but it's going to be, something exciting.
I'm excited about that. I think it's a brilliant idea. And sometimes we just, like, if we're at hour 20 and there's a question that might be 20 minutes to 30 minutes of a conversation, maybe we just need to, that's a good idea. I love it. We got a lot of great people in the chat room here. PJ, what's up, PJ? Glad to have you joining us. Calling us living legends. I don't know that I'd say that about myself all the time, but I don't mind you saying it, PJ. I appreciate that. Trogdor is excited about Taco Tuesday. We got a bunch of people here in the chat room. I'm excited about that. As you see on the scroll below, if you have questions, use the live chat for that. Do it on YouTube. It doesn't work anywhere else. I have I'm running an experiment right now where I'm trying to see if I can run it on Instagram. We'll see. I have no idea. You can check it out, the Calvin and Hobby. Maybe somebody can go check it out if it's even working. I have no clue. It's on Facebook. It is on Twitter, but you can't comment on Twitter. You can do Facebook, maybe on Instagram. I have no idea. We'll see. But I know you can on YouTube, and there's a lot of great people there on YouTube. So make sure that's the best place to ask questions. It's not boring. Like, whoever said there's an off season, that is a myth. There's nothing like that in fantasy football at all. There's a lot of interesting things. Before I get into a couple other things that I want to talk about, Tyler, I want to give you a chance to talk about the news today. Joe Judge gone as the head coach of the New York Giants. Got anything you want to say about that?
I mean, I've been calling for his head for so long, right? Like, I don't know. It is what it is. I'm happy he was fired. He sucks. He's one of the worst coaches I've ever seen. I won't mince words. I have nothing good to say about him. He is the worst coach that I have ever seen anything from ever. Nothing good. I don't think he did anything good ever. Not one good thing. No positives. Nothing. Even Adam Gase and Matt Nagy had a good season. Their first seasons were good, actually. They had one good year each. Nothing good to say about Joe Judge. He's I don't think he should get another job. I think he should be out of the NFL. He's that bad. Just get him out of my life.
Be gone, Joe Judge. Certainly glad to see that move. I think it helps us in in fantasy football. Maybe we get a better offensive mind there with some good offensive weapons, legitimately good offensive weapons. Let's see if we get somebody that knows how to use them properly. We are
about that.
Yeah. We are also asking everybody, let's talk about it. which coaching change is the most impactful in Dynasty? So what do you think? Be thinking about that. Let's go ahead, and if you have an answer to that you'd like to say, do that. So many announcements right now. I promise I'm going to get these out of the way and we're going to get right to your questions, but I have one more really important one. We talked about this last week. We are closing in on a deadline to sign up for this. So I just want to throw it back out there. This is from the Dynasty Vipers, and I am actually anyone listening to this right now. There are quite a few spots that have been paid for free of charge for you to join this league. Here is some information about it right here. Incredible prizes. I've done this league now for a couple of years. It's a lot of fun. You can choose anyone from any team that's in the playoffs. You can just only use them one time. So there's a lot of really good strategy involved in this. Calculate the points throughout the course of the playoffs. You've got subscriptions from right here to DLF. You've got a lot of people joining this, and there is, someone in the fantasy community who is had a legitimate tragedy in the family. They're choosing to remain anonymous. I know who it is. You guys would like him, love him. You know him. But choosing to remain anonymous. There's some of us who want to help. So this league is going to all the proceeds, everything is going to his family. So yeah, if you want to be in the league, I am at Calvin and Hobby. Go find me on Twitter. I just need your MFL email address. I can send you the invite. You can be in the league. That's free of charge. It's paid for. I would love for the Ask DLF crew, somebody from Taco Tuesday, Waffle Wednesday, to win the whole thing. That would be awesome. Scott Fishbowl invite, by the way, one of the prizes.
I like that.
A championship belt is part of the prizes. There's a lot of really cool things. So with that, all that out of the way, anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Tyler? Let's get to the questions then. West Coast Chiefer, what's up? What's up? What's up, guys? Appreciate that, West Coast. Glad that you're here. Already brought in PJ. Really Truther. Good question here from him. Is Darnus Johnson a hidden gem? Every single game, given decent workload, he's overperformed projections. Hunt may be moving on, or maybe him. Chubb's the guy, but Chub isn't getting any younger. We've said that. What do you think? Is Darnus Johnson a guy that you think maybe is worth investing in this offseason?
There's a lot of guys like this, though. Like, there's a lot of them. He is never going to be a starter anywhere. I guess, but what's going to happen between now and then to really increase his value? Probably nothing. So, like, I don't know. Do you think he's going to resign in Cleveland? They have their restricted free agent tender they can use, which would be very bad. But I could see them using it if they put I think the options are what? Original round, which was he UDFA, so doesn't really apply. They're not going to use a first round tender on him.
No. They won't use a high tender on him, for sure. But and to be honest, like I kind of would expect them if Hunt is gone, I would expect them to bring somebody else in anyway.
Hunt is under contract though. I don't think Hunt's going to be gone. Hunt's under contract for like $5.5 million. None of it's guaranteed, but I think that's very reasonable. I mean,
think
Hunt
they have
is
an
an
out.
offensive weapon.
I'll have to go look at it. I think
none of it's guaranteed. They can get out of it. I'm just saying I don't know why they would. I think he's worth it, probably.
Right. Yeah. I don't know that Darnus Johnson is ever going to win you a fantasy league. I think that's be a top 24 type asset. Is it possible he has some weeks like that? Sure. He did this year. But
I don't hate it. I just I don't see the path.
Really truth. They're good to see you boys back in the non-point scoring season. Yeah.
We never left.
No, we're right here.
We never left.
Not going anywhere. Ask DLF. Here we go. Nicholas J. Sup fam. Got a trade question. My Josh Jacobs and my 2.03 pick. I like that we're at a point now where these picks have.
I know.
Yeah, it's not just a random second. It's like you can say it's the 203. 203 for Elijah Moore and the 207. What do you think?
Seems reasonable, but given the way I play, I'll take the Moore side.
Me too.
Reasonable, though. Very fair.
I think people are going to be a little bit too low on Josh Jacobs this offseason.
Josh Jacobs is good, not great. We know what he is. Value him like, I mean, look, I think you should value Josh Jacobs how you valued David Montgomery last year. And you would have been about spot on if you'd valued him there. He was good. Did he win your fantasy league? No. Could you use him when you started him? Yes. Is that what Josh Jacobs is? Probably. I expect them to exercise the 5th-year option on Jacobs. Oh, why wouldn't you? I think he's fine. I expect him to exercise that option. I think you get 2 more years of this, whatever this is. This is fine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you viewed Montgomery last year, really. 2 more years on his rookie contract of this. Montgomery's about a year older than Jacobs. That's why I use him.
Right.
At this point, I'd rather have Jacobs over Montgomery if I had to choose, but that's only because Jacobs has the first-round capital. Jacobs is younger. So they're comparable, but I'd go to Jacobs if I had to pick between the two. I don't mind drafting him, really. His price is probably going to be reasonable.
I imagine it's going to be. I'll be curious to see how it shakes out. He's one of the few that I feel pretty certain, like almost nothing is going to happen where he's not going to have a, like his normal expected workload, right? Like, he's pretty safe in terms of that. Like he's going to touch the ball. He's going to, they brought in Kenyon Drake this past offseason. Everybody was upset, but it's not like Drake really hurt his touches.
And Drake isn't walking either because Drake has $5.5 million guaranteed for next year. Against 8 million total. So I don't think Drake is walking. So I think this is returning. Maybe the pick up backup somewhere. So yeah, I don't mind Josh Jacobs. I don't tend to play that way. I don't tend to end up with players like Josh Jacobs anyway. Mm-hmm. But honestly, like if I had to pick someone who could be that RB2 range, the player I would pick, it's probably going to end up being Josh Jacobs, just given the price.
Yeah.
The discount.
He's going to be such a boring pick for people in Dynasty startups. Yeah. Like nobody's like going to pick Josh Jacobs and like feel like super pumped about their team. But
sure.
I just think I think at value, he's going to overproduce for you. We'll talk about it a bunch, but he's younger than people think.
Well, I know how old he is. He's February 98.
You do. Most people probably think he's like ready to retire.
Yeah. But that doesn't change my answer to this question. I'll take the Elijah Moore side.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I just wanted to take that opportunity to talk about him a little bit. We did ask this about coaching changes and the most impactful for Dynasty. BJ chimes in here. I'm thinking the biggest fantasy change will come from the Vikings. They've been using the same, or they've been the same using Cook, Adam Thielen, and Justin Jefferson. I usually don't see people use first names for this, so that's an interesting twist there, BJ. Guys. Yeah, but thinking that'll change with the new head coach. By the way, how are you guys doing? I'm doing great, BJ. I thank you for asking. Hope you're doing well too. Tyler, what do you think?
I agree to disagree. I don't see why any coach would move away from Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson, and it's not the coach that's causing a move away from Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is just getting old. So agree to disagree. I just see no merit to this. So I just don't agree. I'm sorry.
My biggest fear for that situation in general, and I understand why they did it. Like Zimmer, too. Yeah, Zimmer was a defensive guy that all of a sudden couldn't produce a good defense anymore. And, so I get it. I understand why they did it. But I'm afraid of things getting messed up here. Like it is such a concentrate. Like there's not many teams where the fantasy success is so concentrated the way theirs is.
It's not about
I'd like it to change. I like it to not change at all. That's my.
It's not about that.
It doesn't change.
The problem is that they're going into a Kirk Cousins problem. That's the problem. They're going into the last year of an overpriced quarterback who they don't really want. And what do? They don't want Kirk Cousins. We know they don't want Kirk Cousins. I said this last season. I'm going to say it again this season. If they could delete Kirk Cousins' contract without paying the cap hit and just make him go away, despite the fact that would screw them over, they would. They would delete the $45 million that he's owed and just deal with it. They would deal with it. They would do whatever it takes to just find someone else. They would delete that $45 million if they could. I'm just telling you, that's the reality of the situation. They can't do that.
Well,
because they're stuck with
can
it.
they? But that's my question is like you're bringing in what, a new GM, a new head coach who now has to deal with this
And how are
1
they going to
year
do
of
that,
Kirk
though?
Cousins.
But how are they going to do that? How are they going to get rid of Kirk Cousins? Who's paying? Who's going to trade for Kirk Cousins on $45 million? Who's going to do that? You're going to have to give him an extension to smooth out that cap hit.
I think you're either going to have to bring in somebody who likes Kirk Cousins and could utilize him, or you got to bring in somebody who can move him. I really don't see how you bring somebody in
You're
and have
not going
this
to be able to move
your
him.
first year, and you've got to have Kirk Cousins in there. I just think they're going to have to. Something's got to give.
You're not going to be able to move Kirk Cousins on that contract. Nobody wants Kirk Cousins.
We said the same thing about Jared Goff, and he was moved the same time last year.
2 first-round picks were given to swallow that nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think the Vikings with a new general manager are giving away 2 first-round picks to swallow Kirk Cousins. That's not going to happen. So that's not realistic. I think that, honestly, what's going to happen is that Kirk Cousins is going to play out the final year of his deal and walk.
Tough position to put a brand new head coach and GM in my opinion.
Very tough.
We'll see.
It's very tough. It's the only worst one is the position that the Falcons new general manager, and head coach were put in last season because they were stuck with 2 years.
Yeah.
Of a far worse quarterback. Kirk Cousins is at least still
an example.
Matt Ryan is washed.
Mm-hmm. That's a good example. Yeah.
Kirk Cousins is not bad. You could. They fired Mike Zimmer because it was time, not because Mike Zimmer is a bad coach, because it was time. It's been years. It just wasn't. It's been a long time. He wasn't good enough. I mean, he was a good coach, but just didn't work out. It didn't work out. Time for a change. After, 7, 8 years, you make a change. If you're not really getting to that Super Bowl level, you got to make a change. So I get that. But it's not because Zimmer was a bad coach. I don't think so. I don't think he was bad.
Thank you for the question, BJ, and thank you, everyone here. We get to the next one here. Just want to say, if you're watching this, go ahead and make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Go ahead, click down there. I think it's a red button. Just make sure you're subscribed to the Dynasty League Football channel. A lot of people on this channel working really hard to bring you really good information as we enter in the non-point scoring season. This is where you want to get the information from dynastyleaguefootball.com the most. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like button, the thumbs up. And let's get those questions in. I see a bunch of them rolling in. This one here, the best 2774. Thank you for your question. Team A is Antonio Gibson. Team B, Elijah Mitchell. 2023 second. Let us know where that is if you can.
2023, so they don't know.
Oh, 2023. I'm sorry. Yep, you're right. 10 team super flex dynasty. Which side are you guys on?
I'll take Mitchell on the pick. Mitchell and Gibson are close. Yeah. There's not a second between them. So I'll take Mitchell on the pick. Fair, though. It's just not unreasonable trade.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Gibson. I'd rather have Gibson if choosing, by the way. If choosing between the two, I'd rather have Gibson. Barely, but I'd rather have Gibson.
If it's just straight up Gibson
straight
and Mitchell?
Up, I would rather have Gibson, but not by enough. So I'll take the Mitchell side. They're almost the same age.
So, but you're saying in a super flex 10-team league, that second is enough to move the needle. So it's close.
I mean, I have them 3 overall spots apart. So yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The 2023 class is going to be deep. That's going to be a good player no matter what, especially in a 10-team. Top 20 player in that class is going to be good. So I'll take that side.
Yep. In dynastyleaguefootball.com's December ADP, they're going back to back, RB12 and RB13.
Yeah, so then there you go.
Yep. Luke Patrick, Devonta. I guess this is Devonta Smith.
Devonta Smith, yeah.
Okay. All right, not Devonta Freeman.
Oh, I hope not.
Or 111 and 201.
Well, this wildly changes whether if this is 1 QB, this deal is pretty. I mean, this deal is light. I don't like this class. I don't like. So
I want Devonta if it's 1 QB.
I'll just hold Devonta Smith if this is a 1 QB. I don't think in a 1 QB there's gonna be any quarterbacks taken in the first round this year. 0. I expect there to be 0 quarterbacks taken in the first round in a 1 QB. Yeah. So in that case, I just am not sure that I'd probably rather have what I know in Devonta Smith, someone who's good, over a lot of maybe I don't like maybe. Maybe is not good. So I don't really want that. In a super flex, we're talking a more reasonable valuation because there could be, even though I'm not sure there's going to be a quarterback worthy of the 101, there could be still 3 or 4 quarterbacks taken in the first round, which means there would be 3 or 4 quarterbacks taken by this point, which means that suddenly the 111 and 201 are not quite as unappealing. Honestly, I think this trade is about, given my chart, I have a chart for this. My chart, just looking at it, my chart would lean toward the picks here. But it is close.
Fair enough. Really like what Devonta Smith did this season with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I just given
the situation, I just think
is it going to get better though? Is it going to get better? Is the situation going to improve? Like that's my problem. It's like, what is the ceiling of Devonta Smith?
Maybe not, but he might
for 20. I mean, is that the best case scenario? If that's the best case scenario, then I'm just not that excited. In Superflex, I might take the picks and try to make those into something else I like better somehow. I might use, because, picks are more, what's the word, fungible. The NFT, not fungible. In this case, we'll use the regular word, fungible. I'll be able to trade the picks no matter what. Whereas maybe some people don't want Devonta Smith. So in a Superflex, I would consider taking the picks, and then I don't actually want to keep them. I want to maybe try to use them to make a move later.
I like it. PJ chimes in. What do you guys think of Nico Collins? He's been popular on this show.
Yes. Someone I will be targeting in startups for sure. I don't know you trade for this kind of player. I mean, maybe you throw him in as a deal maker. You don't trade for him directly. People see through that. You throw him in, but really, we're talking about someone I'm targeting to draft. I'm targeting to draft in startups. I will be drafting him. That's the way I want to get him on my teams, portfolio, Patreon wise, whatever. I want to draft him onto my team. And I will be doing that. I will. He's a target of mine for sure. One of the biggest discrepancies, actually, I feel, between the value, ADP, whatever you want to call it, versus my personal rankings. One of the biggest differences. Nico Collins is much higher in my personal ranks. So someone I'm going to be targeting. I do like him.
Yeah, Texans are going to be an interesting team to watch this offseason, but I expect Nico Collins, who's a 3rd-round pick,
Less about the Texans, more just liking him. I like what he's done in a bad situation. I like what I've seen. It's a good step forward for someone where I wasn't expecting much. Someone I didn't like coming in, really.
I can't wait to see if Davis Mills gets competition there or not.
We can talk about that.
Yeah, there's just some interesting things.
We have the draft order at the top of the draft, which it provides some clarity for that.
Yeah. You want to talk about that, or you want to get into?
I don't know. If people ask about it, we'll talk about it, but I don't feel the need to force it in if people aren't asking.
We're asking you. Yeah, asking you guys to tell us what you think are the interesting things that could be impactful for Dynasty.
I mean, I'll talk about whatever I can.
And Marcus mentioned the Bears getting rid of Nagy will be the most impactful coaching change in Dynasty. Fields is now free. Free Fields.
Yeah, but also the general manager who traded 2 first-round picks to get him is gone. Careful. That's not always good. Not good. We don't like that. What happens when new coaches? We've heard of Josh Rosen. Not saying that Fields is going to be that, but like people are a little stuck on Fields being what Fields was, the college prospect Fields was, and not the reality, which is that he was the 11th overall pick, not in the top 5. And you look at the career paths of quarterbacks, top 5 and not top 5. Big difference in how long of a leash they get. Justin Fields does not have a longer leash than Jalen Hurts. They have 1 year each. 1 year. Justin Fields is bad in 2022. He's not the starter in 2023. You don't guarantee that if you're the 11th overall pick. That's not guaranteed. It's not like Trey Lance. Trey Lance is going to get 2 years. Zach Wilson, 2 more years. Like Sam Darnold had before him 3 years. Zach Wilson will get 2 more years. Lance, 2 more years. Fields only has 1 more. You see players like Haskins, he was kind of in a similar range, 15th overall, yanked in the middle of year 2 was even earlier than this. So I'm just saying that people are have a little too much security with Justin Fields. I think he's the one I don't want. He's the one I don't want. I don't want him. I don't want him at all. Take Lawrence. I'll take a chance on Lawrence. I'll take a chance on Lance. Fields, no. Fields, I don't want any part of. No, thank you. Way too high in price for me. I'll pass. Zero chance I get any of him.
You're saying you think there's a chance that he might not be the guaranteed starter into 2022?
No, I'm just saying that there's no guarantee he's going to be a starter in 2023. Whereas Lawrence and Lance will be. They spent too much on them. They spent too much on them to give up after 2 years.
So does he kind of find himself in a situation like Hurts was in this year, Jalen Hurts?
I mean, look, I'm just saying, if Fields is awful in 2022, he won't be the starter in 2023. If he's awful, he won't be. Whereas Lawrence could be horrible as he could be the worst, and he would still start in 2023, no matter how bad he is. That's the reality.
Interesting.
It's a reality. People don't want to hear that. I never hear anyone else say that, really. Right?
Yeah.
You never hear that brought up. But if you actually think about it, isn't that true? If Lawrence is terrible, he'll start no matter what in 2023, whereas Fields is not the case.
I want to see
that, though.
I want to know what you guys think about Fields and about because this is a situation to watch. Who comes in here as the coach and what they build around Fields is going to matter. And I think that's really interesting. It also matters who goes to Denver, another place where there is a coach, and they have asked to interview almost everybody. Probably Tyler, but they did ask to interview the quarterback coach from the Green Bay Packers. What do we think? Does that end up with Aaron Rodgers in Denver?
No, I think that the Packers and Rodgers have resolved their differences at this point. And I expect Jordan Love to be sent on a plane packing and Aaron Rodgers to be signed to a lucrative extension to end his career in Green Bay. Personally, that's what I expect to happen. I no longer think that the discussion is now not, is Aaron Rodgers going to play for another team? I actually think the more relevant discussion is, does Aaron Rodgers feel like playing? I actually think he's going to stay if he wants to play. Yeah. I think you're more likely to see Aaron Rodgers retire than Aaron Rodgers be traded. I think there are now issues that the bigger issues revolve around Aaron Rodgers in the NFL. With all of those things, there are a lot of things there than Aaron Rodgers with the Packers specifically. So I would be more worried about Aaron Rodgers retiring than Aaron Rodgers leaving. And I guarantee you that if he stays in Green Bay, Jordan Love is gone. He won't still be there. And once again, not good.
That was a terrible
not
pick.
Good. Well, Jordan Love just sucks. It would have been a good pick if Jordan Love had been good. That's the reality, right? The reality is that if Jordan Love were good, the pick would have been good.
Sure. That's what I say about all my fantasy drafts. That it wasn't me drafting the player, it was the player.
The idea of drafting a quarterback, given Rodgers' career trajectory up until that time, was reasonable. They just traded up for a bad prospect. That's all. They picked a bad player. Not that the strategy was that bad. The player they picked sucked. That's
do you think he's the MVP?
Rodgers? Well, I think there's a good chance he'll be the MVP. He led them to a bye, right? It deserves consideration for the MVP. I think so.
37 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Unbelievable.
Well, he never throws a lot of interceptions. Look, that's impressive about Rodgers. It's no secret that I don't really like Aaron Rodgers. I think everyone knows that I'm not a fan of Aaron Rodgers.
The only reason why not to vote for him is just not liking him. But
I would vote for him anyway. I wouldn't vote based on who I like and didn't like.
Exactly, and they shouldn't. So.
Just like how I don't make dynasty roster decisions really based on who I like and don't like. Sometimes I make decisions based on who the market likes and doesn't like, because that dictates how liquid your assets are. You take on an asset that's really unpopular, there's a decline in trade value to take on that asset. So, I do count that against players who the market dislikes and whatever, but I'm not really who I dislike.
Would you answer if the Giants tried to make you their GM?
Well, I'd definitely pick up the phone. I'd consider. Look, I've been on a behind the scenes tour of MetLife. Yeah,
okay.
they took me into the food stock room and the beer room, and also a couple of other places.
Nice.
And
Nice.
they also they took us into the security room. This was all part of my master's program at Columbia. We got to go like behind the scenes. We got to see all the computer systems, the how they do the ticketing. Actually, a lot of it was actually really cool. It was great. It was a great experience. So
I love
I'm
that
probably more qualified
subtle,
than almost anyone else in the fantasy community to actually do that job.
I love your little
But-
subtle masters from Columbia drop right there. So
Not subtle. It was in my
subtle, I'm
Twitter
smarter
bio
than you
for
drop right
forever.
there. Yeah.
Not subtle. I talk about it all the time.
I'm kidding. Trogdor, Rondi. Oh, we need to have like a chess match this off season. That's one of the things we need to do.
Me and you?
Trogdor says, yeah, Rondale or the 110, a 12
I have
team
great news.
Superflex.
Great news. The chart of picks is available. I think I've referenced it offhand, but the chart of pick value is available. So I'll just give you the answer. I have now, this is available on Patreon. I'll answer the questions on the show, but if you want the actual chart updated live, that's a Patreon thing. But I'll give you some excerpts. Rondale Moore in Superflex tight end premium comes in between the 201 and the 202. So I'll take the pick.
So yeah, right there, very close. Definitely be watching to see what happens with Christian Kirk over the offseason. I'm curious to see how they
Christian Kirk is gone. I kind
of think they're gonna bring him back.
I'd be surprised.
We'll see.
I'd be surprised. I think someone else can give him more money. He's good.
I respect someone who's willing to pay off a bet, and that is what PJ is doing right here. Calvin is the best fantasy football analyst. I won the bet. That's right. I'm gonna say it, everyone. I'm in here. Yeah, we bet on Tyson Williams. He bet on Tyson Williams being good. That was a mistake. I tried to warn you, PJ. The good thing is in his fantasy leagues, he actually did trade Tyson away before he lost all value. So he properly. I don't bet enough.
Well, luckily, I never really liked Tyson Williams. So
yeah. He hedged. He properly hedged. There you go. FF Lefty, sup, good people. Happy 2022 to you all. Yes, thank you. Appreciate.
Just happy I'm alive in 2022.
Me too. And yeah, he says he's going to take the 110 in that for Trogdor.
Sure.
Good question here. Marcus asked, does firing Flores, one of the most, to me, that was a
stunner. Yeah, one of my most liked tweets too was just the Dolphins fired the wrong guy.
Yeah. Miami Twitter sort of jumped in my mentions telling me about how bad Flores was. I didn't know there was all this like negative bad things about him. Yeah, but I liked what Flores did. It always seemed to me like the team was overperforming and playing hard. And there's a lot of internal things that are weird in Miami, like all the Deshaun Watson stuff that just kept going for whatever reason. But yeah, what do you think? Can it hurt
this
Waddle?
Question? No, it doesn't hurt Waddle's value at all.
I don't think so either.
This is just a flat no, and I love Waddle. This doesn't affect his value whatsoever. So.
Does it cement the fact that we're gonna get Tua in Miami this next year?
Yeah, but this doesn't really. I never really thought that anytime recently that wasn't going to be the case. I think if that was going to happen, they would have made the trade when they had the chance. And they didn't. And the guy who wanted Watson the most is gone. So I
know Watson wanted him. Was he the one that wanted Watson the most?
Well, he's also the one who kept benching Tua. So
it's true.
But then they tried to blame it all on. I don't really know what's going on here, but Tua is what he is. I mean, we know what he is. He's just okay.
Trogdor hoping the Bears can get a coach that can teach Fields how to play QB at a high level in the NFL. Shots fired.
Well, I mean, Matt Nagy was incapable of doing that. Yeah, he's not playing quarterback at a high level in the NFL right now. So that would be nice, right? I mean, if you could get a coach who could do that, that would be good.
Yeah, that seems like it would be
he has a lot to learn.
Thing. It is a lot to learn.
Yeah.
PJ, is is Penny. Speaking of first round picks, is Penny the real deal?
Yeah.
Or do they go get a guy?
All right. So Penny is February what? Something 18th, 24th, 1996, something like that. Whatever. So he turns 26 soon. So he's old. The contract is up. I think they re-sign him because Chris Carson, they hope he'll be ready for a trading camp. If we're already on, they hope he'll be. Chris Carson's never playing another snap in the NFL again. Just so people know. Neck injury usually means this. What was it? A spinal fusion? That usually means done.
It doesn't. It's not good for Carson.
Not good. So I don't think he's coming back.
But
this is the same thing that ended David Wilson's career, isn't it? I believe so.
Oh, yes. God, man, I loved him.
The same injury, I believe, that ended David Wilson's career. So, and this has ended multiple players' careers across multiple sports, these type of neck injuries. So, Chris Carson to me is done. So, I would think that they would try to retain Rashad Penny. Why not? I think it's going to be a one-year deal. I don't think anybody is giving Penny a long-term contract. But I think, in his situation, you offer him a one-year deal for $4 or $5 million. That sounds pretty good to him, right? I mean, $4 or $5 million they didn't have before. He didn't want to get anything.
I can see that, but I think you sell him because no team's going to build their backfield around Rashad Penny with his injury history and all that. I just could he secure the job, take it, and run with it? Yes, but it would be very abnormal from things that we've seen in the past.
Rashad Penny's value upside is what Leonard Fournette is worth now.
That's a good example.
Like you're going year to year on that kind of player. That's the best case scenario with Rashad Penny. And Leonard Fournette is still not really worth the first even now to most people. So yeah, I'm fine selling Rashad Penny, but I don't want to just give Rashad Penny away. Giving away running backs who produce is a bad plan. So, I can give you the pick value on Penny. In a 1 QB, I would need the 203 or better. So it's high. Yeah.
The 203 and Rashad Penny. Nicholas, should I trade for Penny? Last 3 games were great. He's asking for a second round pick. I'll have a 203, but don't like Penny that much. What do you think?
So the other thing is that I often ignore the values when I'm trading for a player and say I want to give up a lot less. To trade Penny away, I want the 203 or better. I don't want to trade for Penny. I'd maybe give up in a 1 QB, maybe the 206 or 207 at best, probably less. I just don't want to trade for a player like that ever. But we're asking a sale price there. So the question here, should I trade with the 203? No. Do not do that.
Nicholas is also our NFL insider who's hearing Hunt to Miami.
No. Hunt is under contract. Let's see if they release him. I don't think they have plans to release him. So I don't think so. I think you're right. Hearing a running back to Miami, I just think you have the wrong name. I think the name you should be having is Sonny Michel or Melvin Gordon. I think those are the names you should be talking about. Those names I think would be potential signings, or whoever the Cardinals don't retain between Connor and Edmonds. More likely Connor there, I would say. But I guess with Flores gone, we don't know. We have no idea what they want.
That's true. So many questions there.
And it could be anybody.
Yeah.
Miami signed someone though. Sure.
West Coast Chiefer, 12-team Superflex PPR midseason. I traded Akers for a 2022 first and Sermon.
Well, Sermon is irrelevant.
I know.
Irrelevant,
Akers or the 103.
Oh, in Superflex, I'll take the 103. I like Akers, but in the Superflex, give me the 103. This
really?
Is yeah. In Superflex, I mean, I'm gonna prefer any quarterback taken in the top 5 over Akers. In
the top 5 of the NFL draft?
Correct.
So the mock drafts I'm seeing don't even have that. Now I know that
I don't buy it.
Typical.
I don't buy it for 1 second. I don't buy it for 1 second. When we get to the NFL draft, I'll bet there's one in the top 5 minimum. One. I don't buy it.
Yeah. It seems likely, but man, it's
not a good year. It's a relatively deep quarterback class, but not top heavy. There is no guy.
I know people throw themselves into Matt Corral, man, and I just don't know. Maybe he's
but the
good,
problem is that someone is going to take one. I mean, I really think Carolina at 6 has no choice. I mean, what are they going to do? You know,
They have Deshaun Watson.
I also think, they could have Deshaun Watson, but then, the Texans would have the 6 and the 3, and maybe they would go that way. I mean, and then there's also Atlanta at 8. I think Atlanta at 8, if a quarterback falls to them, takes one and lets them sit. Because a lot of these quarterbacks are not ready. They need to sit for a good portion of a year. And that would work for Atlanta to have a quarterback sit. The Giants are at 5 and 7. They could take a quarterback. I don't know if they will. I mean, it's hard to say. If Judge had been retained, I would have thought that was less likely. With Judge gone, I think it's more likely that they take a quarterback.
Good question here from PJ. Is Etienne a buy low with Robinson getting hurt late in the season and no Urban Meyer?
No, Etienne is a sell high, not a buy low. And I answered this question on Twitter earlier. Why would he be a buy low? This is not low. If you wanted to buy him low, you had your chance. Week 8, week 9, week 10. That was, if you wanted to buy him low, you had your opportunity to do that. This is not a buy low. This is now a decide. Do you want to take the mystery box with Travis Etienne coming off? He's fully healthy, but having missed a full year with injury, already 23. It's not like he's ancient, but this is what we talked about with Najee Harris. People were downgrading him coming in at 23. Etienne will be 23 before he takes a single snap. Is he a buy low? He's not a buy low, but it's a question of what do you want to do, right? I mean, do you want the mystery box or do you want to just take and cash out and not have to see it? And that's really up to you, right? I mean, but he's not a buy low.
I am just not. I don't want to be on the Etienne train. I'm
not buying him now because whoever had him is probably a truther because they held him the whole time. So I'm certainly not buying him now. Selling again, I got to get the price I want, and I might not get it. So if I can't sell him, I can't sell him.
Like, let's talk wide receivers. Let's jump over into.
Give me an example.
So let's just hang on. Give me just a second. Let me pull this up. So Travis Etienne currently going off as the RB23
before Robinson tore his Achilles. So that ADP is irrelevant.
Yeah. So we're talking somewhere in the would you rather have? Let's just say no premium. Would you rather have Travis Etienne or TJ Hawkinson?
I'll take TJ Hawkinson, but I really like TJ Hawkinson.
1 QB league, Kyler Murray.
Etienne. I've decided that I just do not want QBs in 1 QB.
Okay. How about Josh Jacobs?
I'll take Jacobs.
Amari Cooper?
Etienne. Cooper faded near the end.
Ayuk?
I'll take Etienne, barely.
How about Michael Pittman? You're pretty high on Pittman, right?
Mm-hmm.
How about Jerry Jeudy or Travis Etienne?
No Jeudy. Jeudy, that's going to be too many excuses. I'm tired of excuses. Excuses don't do me any good, so I'll take Etienne.
Marquise Brown.
No. I'll take Etienne.
Lots to talk about him last week. If you guys want to go hear that. Jason Seacrest. 12 teams. Here we go. What do you think of Mike Evans' value?
Oh, here we go. We're back. We're going to get a whole new offseason of the same thing again. It's funny because, some people would say, okay, so, here's the thing. Obviously, saying to sell Mike Evans before this season was a mistake. But the response to that mistake is not to not say it again. It's to admit it was a mistake and then say it again. Because I still believe that that's the right thing to do again. I don't think, my value on Mike Evans is the chart says that he's worth between the 110 and 111. You can get more in the Superflex. That's what the chart says. So I am gonna in a 1 QB is worth between the 105 and 106. So the chart is a little skeptical on that value because that's like a 5-pick difference, and that doesn't seem right. So there might need to be a little bit of work done on this chart. It's either moving players or moving picks around. I
Mhm.
just made this chart this week, and it's like there are going to be some issues, especially at the top. I trust the chart actually more at the bottom than the top.
Oh,
So there might have, well, because the bottom I do on a curve, whereas the top I do it manually.
Mm.
Because the difference between higher picks is not as linear. So yeah, I gave you that value, but keep in mind that that value can change still in Superflex. I think you can shoot higher, try to get at least a top 8 pick then, and I'd be happy to move on. But that's going to be an unpopular. That's going to be an unpopular opinion forever. Once again, he duplicated ridiculous touchdown efficiency without the volume and without the yards. I'm never going to hit on that player.
Yeah.
Never. I'm always going to miss. So I don't think it's bad process. I think it's just because I faded other players who were that exact same profile and I was very right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know how I avoid that.
If you're watching this and you want a shot to win a chance to be in the Scott Fish Bowl next year or a DLF membership, there's so many little things, a championship belt, fantasy points, football guys, dynasty trade calculator, a lot of really cool things. It's a great playoff fantasy football league. It's really cool. Just put your Twitter handle in here. I'm going to make it easy for you. I want to get you in this league. I want somebody from
the super chat. I'll grab it.
Yeah, there you go. Or let's do that. But yeah, put your email in there and let's do it.
All right, here we go.
From P. Diddy, Papa Diddy Puff.
Puff.
I love this name.
Yeah.
Superflex, I traded 107 for Judy and 204. 10 team.
Okay, so 204 then is really 202. That makes it a little closer. Take 107.
107. Did you think there's going to be a cutoff there between the 107 and 104 in a Superflex?
I want the.
Or you just kind of think Judy is nothing
close. It's close. I get it. I get. It is very close. I'd probably take the 107 just in case. That's the safer asset, actually. If Denver washes out at quarterback, Judy's value is going to go in the toilet. Then I would consider buying Judy for the Robert Woods career path upside. But if I'm only going to be interested in buying Judy if they don't get the quarterback, then I'll consider it because I'm going to drop him less than other people would.
I saw a completely unsubstantiated rumor by someone who is actually in the media for Minnesota who talked about Kirk Cousins being traded for Jerry Jeudy and other things.
That would be terrible.
That would be pretty terrible. He wouldn't have a QB, and
that would be great for Courtland Sutton.
Yeah.
Courtland Sutton has not had a single fantasy relevant game in his career that Jerry Jeudy has played. So that's the only thing that Courtland Sutton will not be saved by a quarterback going there. I think Jerry Jeudy could. Courtland Sutton is a hard fade for me, no matter what. He's someone I don't want unless Jerry Jeudy is traded away. Then I would very much want Courtland Sutton again. But we know that Jerry Jeudy is, even though he doesn't produce on them, out targets Courtland Sutton.
I think I'll take the player.
I don't really want that player.
And trade back. What are you trading back? 7 spots?
I mean, I guess it's a fair trade. I just have a feeling I'm going to like what I get at 107 a little better. I might get a quarterback at 107. I'm not getting a quarterback at 204. Put it that way.
Yeah, it may depend on some of your situation here. So I like what you did, P. Diddy.
But the trade is fair. The trade is fair. I think that's the crux of it.
Very good. Jumping back into, we got some really good questions I want to try and get to here.
There are a lot of questions, and thank you for everyone for that.
Yeah, appreciate everybody doing that. We're gonna try and get to these. Amon St. Brown or Josh Jacobs.
I'll take Josh Jacobs. And I think that's just because of how running backs are valued. Amon-Ra is going to be a discussion this offseason, how to value Amon-Ra. I think is going to be a big debate. It's going to vary. I mean, I've heard of people wanting like Rashad Penny type assets, Hunter Renfro over Amon-Ra. And then I've also heard of people wanting Amon-Ra over like Godwin and Devonta Smith and Michael Pittman, Terry McLaurin. Like I've heard and Elijah Moore. I've heard of people with Amon-Ra in that range. So like, I don't think there's going to be a player where the difference of opinion is as wild as Amon-Ra.
I heard somebody said it really is a matter of is he Landry or is he Keenan Allen? And if he's Keenan Allen, like he's got a pretty high ceiling.
If he's Landry, he's undervalued.
If he's Landry, I agree.
If he's Landry was a top 30 startup pick forever. So if he's Landry, then but if he's Landry, then the value's wrong. If he's Keenan Allen, the value's very wrong. So I don't think that's the question we should be asking. I think the question we should be asking is he Landry? I don't think he's a Keenan Allen no matter what. Is he Landry or is he like, Tyler Boyd, where if you give him the volume, he'll do it. But if you take the volume away, then there's nothing left. I think he's more toward the Landry side of that. Early career Landry. We're talking Landry on the Dolphins, not Landry on the Browns.
Amon-Ra, Julian, Heru, J. St. Brown. Love him.
I really like Amon-Ra.
Me too. I'm a huge fan. Swift and Rondale or Waddle and Debo, 12 team. Good trade.
Waddle and Debo.
That's an interesting one.
Not really. It's really easy. It's Waddle and Debo.
I know, but Swift is still a young running back, and it's not like Rondale has no value.
Did Swift deliver for you when it counted?
No.
Did he deliver?
He was hurt.
I don't think so, right? He didn't deliver, right? So he didn't actually deliver. Again, 2 seasons in a row, didn't deliver when it mattered, right?
But not a failure.
I wouldn't say he's a failure, but the difference between Waddle and Swift is not as much as the difference between Debo and Rondale. It's easily Waddle and Debo. This is not a close trade. It's easily Waddle and Debo.
Yeah, I like Waddle and Debo.
I do.
How about Brandon Cooks? What is his value?
Brandon Cooks is a player that does not have a value. Brandon Cooks is not worth what he produces. So you either take a loss. Brandon Cooks doesn't have a trade value. Brandon Cooks, you either take a loss because you're not going to get his trade value, or you just hold on to him for the rest of his career and take his production value. But Brandon Cooks does not have a value. Put it that way. There are players like that. Tyler Lockett is another. Doesn't really have a value. I can tell you what the chart says, but that's a misleading number. He's not really. You can't get that. Like the chart says he's worth between the 112 and 201 in one QB. And I'm telling you, you can't get that.
Yeah, you can't get that. PJ can't believe Miami got rid of Flores. That's definitely.
I can believe it, but I disagree with the decision. I think I believe it. I just have an issue with it. I disagree. I think they should have fired the general manager who was responsible for a lot of these things.
It's tough because I do think they played the game pretty well in terms of their picks and rebuilds and things like that. It's just
not really. Actually, not really. This is who picked Tua. Who picked Tua? If they picked Herbert, are we in this situation, or do we have this problem? You think we're firing coaches if we picked Herbert instead of Tua? You think coaches are being fired?
Probably not.
Right. So who does the draft pick fall on generally?
That's the question.
That's right. But if you're the general manager, you're the one who's responsible. At the end of the day, you're the one who signs off last on the draft pick. That's how it works. So
here in New Orleans,
you should take responsibility for that.
So we'll see. Anyway, we can't spend time. We got to hurry.
Okay. A lot of things I could say about Miami, but
yeah. Giddy up. Would you trade Zeke and Chub for Joe Burrow? I'm assuming this has to be a super flex.
Immediately, yes. Yeah, I'll take Burrow there easily. Not even close.
Chub and Mac for him? What about that one?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to have to do that. I want that stud quarterback. Mac is a lot of maybe. Mm-hmm. A lot of maybe. I mean, and not a maybe is like, he's going to be good at a quarterback, but he doesn't move the needle for me as a fantasy quarterback. He's never going to be a dynasty quarterback one because he's not going to produce as a quarterback one.
Mac or Zeke?
Mac or what?
Would you rather have Mac or Zeke?
Mac. I don't want Zeke at all.
So then you do the first one. You trade Zeke and Chub for Burrow.
Yeah, but I do the second one too.
Yeah. I was just answering the last part of that question.
I prefer to send the first one, obviously. Right. Zeke is irrelevant to me. I heard people were still valuing Zeke as a top tier asset. I have Zeke in one QB outside of my top 70. So I'm not, clearly I'm seeing a different situation. I'm
with you. Mike Washington. What's up, fellas? Has Davis Mills done enough to get the start next year?
Man.
No.
I would say yes, but it's tough. We know they're not going to trade for a veteran. They're not going to trade for a veteran. They're not gonna. That's not going to be an option for them. So because they have to get rid of somebody, not bring someone else in. I don't think that's happening.
Has he leaped any of the other the 5 quarterbacks that were taken in front of him in fantasy? Has he leaped any of them?
He looked better than all of them, like really, except for Mac.
Hard to argue.
So if you could just base it on his play, I mean, his play dictates that you give him a chance. I think it's gonna be interesting. I do not think they're going to trade for a Jimmy Garoppolo to supplant him. I think my guess is that he is the starter and that they sign someone. They do what other teams have done, is they sign someone like Teddy Bridgewater again, or Mitchell Trubisky, or Marcus Mariota. There are many players like this. Gardner Minshew's not a free agent, but he's on that list of players. But really, Trubisky, Mariota, and who was the other one that I said? Bridgewater are the ones that are free agents. Jameis too, but I think Jameis, I feel like is going to resign in New Orleans, but maybe I don't think he's going to sign in Houston. But I do think Mills starts week 1, but I'm not sure he starts week 8.
PJ thinks Kirk Cousins is going to Pittsburgh.
I don't think Kirk Cousins is going anywhere.
I think he's going somewhere.
You'd have to be a fool to trade for $45 million and then give him an extension, which you're going to need to do to smooth out that cap hit. You're going to be a fool to do that. A fool.
I think he's gone. I think he's gone. You can't bring a coach.
I think that you're right.
Do it again, but I
think you're right that the Vikings would like him to be gone.
Yeah.
I don't think they get the deal done.
Yeah.
I think Kirk Cousins' contract is worth negative. That's why I don't think they get the deal done, because I think they see it as worth positive. I think that you would need to pay to take $45 million, Kirk Cousins. And I don't think the Vikings are giving a draft pick to get rid of Kirk Cousins. I think they would just let Kirk Cousins play the year and then walk, even though that kind of sucks.
Blake says, hey guys, love the show. 1 QB, PPR league, 14 team, have the 101 and was thinking of trying to move my 106 for the 102. Try to get the top running back and wide receiver. Is that a good strategy?
This is the kind of question that's getting answered in the article. I don't know. I mean, sure, maybe. It depends on what you have to give up for it. Like, there's no blanket answer to this question. I can try to do better in an article on this one, but this is not a question for the show.
He is one of our Aussie viewers. He's the Waffle Wednesday over there for Blake. So appreciate you tuning in. BJ, where do you guys think the fired coaches will end up? Do you think any more are going to get fired? Yeah, we had one more today. Do you think there are any more that could?
Well, I mean, we had Urban. I guess Urban was fired during the season, but of the ones who were, and Gruden, I guess, but the ones who were fired, recently we had Flores, Zimmer, Nagy, Judge. I mean, who else could be fired? Carroll?
They just signed that extension for him.
I don't think so.
Time.
I think there's a bunch of people who are on hot seats, but I don't think anyone else. Oh, Fangio was also fired. Who else would be fired?
Fangio's a good defensive coordinator. I hope he gets a job somewhere.
He is a good defensive coordinator. He just wasn't meant to be a head coach. But I think Fangio gets a job as a defensive coordinator somewhere. I mean, obviously.
Joe Judge is not getting a job somewhere.
Joe Judge is not getting a job, period. He's going to have to do what Adam Gase did and take a job at a high school.
And he was a special teams guy, so maybe he goes back and is like a
I
special.
don't know
teams
what he does, but
coordinator.
he's not going to get a relevant job that we care about. And someone's saying Cully could be fired. I don't know. I mean, I never liked Cully to begin with.
Great. You don't like him, but his team has played hard. I love what he's done.
He's just so.
He's blah. I know.
He's everything Dan Campbell.
Who cares?
Dan Campbell, I think, has showed you what you want to see of a coach of a losing team. That's what you want to see.
Okay.
No, but it is. That's what you want to see of a coach of a losing team. That's how you can, you have a losing team going in. That's how you act. You act like that. David Culley is just a little boring for me. I don't want boring. I don't want boring to be my coach. I mean, I could fire. I mean, I could see firing.
Boring.
What?
Belichick's a pretty boring coach.
Belichick is not boring. He's obnoxious. There's a little difference.
West Coast Chief for 12 team Superflex PPR. Where does Pitts fall in your wide receiver ranking?
Well, he's not a wide receiver, so I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, he's like Dynasty tight end 1, but like,
where would he be? I know you've got your overall rankings. Where do you have him?
9.
So, would you take him or Metcalf?
Pitts.
Ooh, him or AJ Brown?
Brown.
Him or CeeDee Lamb?
Lamb.
Okay. All right. So right there.
Yeah.
Ryan Miozi, what needs to be added to Elijah Moore to get Waddle in return in Dynasty?
A lot.
I think a lot. It's not the kind of trade I want to do,
and I don't want to do that, so I'm probably not doing it. Yeah, but that's what it would take.
It would, but yeah. It's just not. I'm not. I don't want to play like this.
I don't think I'm trading Waddle more away like that.
Also, your team is miles away from competing, and you have the 104 and 108. Can you consider punting on QB this year in Superflex?
I mean, sure. I don't. Depends on your roster. That's a big question.
Yeah.
These are the kind of questions that my answer is always gonna be draft for value, trade for need. It's a canned answer, but these questions are, and I hate to go hard on the people who ask these questions because I get these all the time, and I always say that there are no stupid questions, but there are questions that actually are better off not being answered. And this is
a big question because obviously the quarterbacks in the 2023 draft are going to be better.
No, what I mean by that is this type of question, any answer is misleading. Any answer other than don't think. The correct answer is don't think about it that way. Any answer other than don't think about it in this setting. The issue with this question is that I disagree with the premise and the framing of this question to begin with. Yeah. Is a question framed about strategy this way. I'm never going to be able to answer because I disagree with the question. And I think it'll improve your dynasty managing skills if you think less about team needs and where you are in competing and just try to build value through youth on your roster in the best way you can. Make good picks, get good players. I know that sounds so basic, but that's actually most people in dynasty, the mistakes they make are from overthinking it, from thinking too hard, from not taking the easiest answer when it's right in front of them.
PJ says wide receivers are loaded. Yeah, I've certainly seen that as well. Yeah,
but there are going to be other positions, and we know that. There are going to be, players at other positions to target as well. I don't have a particular target I'm looking for at positions. I just want to take the best players.
David wants to know, 12 teams, Superflex, Happy VR. Would you rather have CEH plus 2 late thirds or Chase Claypool in a second?
No. This trade implies that CEH is worth more. CEH was less. Because when we put failure onto our team, it infects the rest of our roster with failure. We can't have that. So I'll take Claypool in the second, but I would take Claypool straight up. Failure really just, he continued to fail. I don't want more of that on my team.
I know you guys are loving the 2023 class. Would you ever think
this question I like.
103 this year for a first round pick next year? This is actually what I was going to suggest. I'm glad he did that. I was going to suggest this to Ryan. But yeah, go ahead.
This question I like. Typically, generally, I value a future first, assuming it's random, at around the 109 or 110 or so, paying to wait. Not this year. This year, I'm more willing to go to 2023. So I would send 109 easily for a 2023. Probably I'd do 108 even for a 2023. It's that bad. That difference between the classes. So usually I'd probably only send the final 3 picks. This year I think I'd send the final 5. But the 103, no. Definitely not.
West Coast cheaper, 12 team, Superflex, PPR, Mooney or Rondale Moore plus what to acquire Waddle? It's going to be a lot.
Both wide receivers is nowhere near enough for Waddle. You'll get laughed at. I mean, if you offer Mooney and Rondale Moore for Waddle, the Waddle manager will laugh at you. Yeah. So you're going to need a first plus those 2 to begin a conversation that I think will still end in a rejection. So these pieces don't even register compared to Waddle.
Like, would you be surprised if Waddle winds up being valued to a lot of people who have him as like the wide receiver 4 behind the big 3?
Sure. No surprise there. I mean, I think it's very reasonable to value him there. I mean, I have him at, what do I have him at? 8. Yeah, 8.
I think people are going to be making the case this offseason for him over DK and AJ Brown and Tyreek and all that in Dynasty. I think
the case is there to make.
I think it's there too. I
don't agree with it. I think it's there.
I think it's there.
But to answer the question, those pieces don't register in a Waddle trade. So you're basically starting from scratch.
Yeah. So if you can make that kind of trade now before those arguments start happening, yes, go ahead and do it. I doubt you're going to get that, but if you have the right managers, the right in your league that you can make that happen, I mean, I think you're giving up a lot for him. I think you should. And he's one of the players that I think is going to have a lot of helium over the offseason. So if you can trade Debo,
I'm all in.
Trade Debo for him, I might would do that.
I would do that. I would take Waddle.
Nicholas, should I trade Tyler Boyd for the 206, or should I ask for a second next year instead, not knowing what the pick will be, or pick in the second it'll be, but a better class next year. Anyway, I guess
I'll stick to what I said with the 108 and just apply that to the 208.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have the 206 than a second next year.
1 QB league, a 206 is probably nothing. So I'd take the mystery box because Tyler Boyd's probably gonna be nothing too.
Well, I guess
no, I know it's not nothing really, but like you get.
I still take the 206 over a random 2023 second.
Do you want to talk about Davis Mills anymore?
More?
Yeah, we talked about him a good bit.
Just recognize that Davis Mills is either going to he's not going to maintain his current value. He's going to go up about 30 spots or go down about 90. So it's a risk. And it's an unknowable risk. Anyone telling you they know whether Davis Mills is going to be the 2022 starter is lying to you. You know how I know that they're lying to you? Because the Texans don't know whether Davis Mills is going to be the 2022 starter because they haven't completed their process with the 3rd overall pick on drafting quarterback. So if they don't know, how can you possibly know? You don't. I don't know. You don't know. Whoever would tell you that does not know. I'm leaning that direction, but we're talking like 55, 45.
Yeah.
So he's risky. Keep it in mind.
Yeah. Mills is reminds me of like Gardner Minshew or somebody like that. No,
that's exactly who he reminds me of, except Gardner Minshew was a little more clear after the first season that he was going to be the starter for the second season. I feel like there's a little more risk this time for some reason.
Jason asked, 12 teams, Superflex, is Mahomes still your number 1 quarterback?
He is, barely, but he is.
Anybody you would take in an offer for Mahomes?
Well, if he's still my number 1 quarterback, then no.
I kind of feel like I do think he is, and I think he should be the number 1 QB in terms of ADP. But there was a time where I thought he would be the number 1 QB for the next 5 years, and I'm definitely wondering if that's going to be true or not. Because I
moved off drafting quarterbacks in 1 QB at all. I don't have a single quarterback in my top 50. assets.
If you take him, I mean, in the next couple of years, he's not going to have, or at least a diminished version of Kelsey and Hill, right?
I mean, but who knows? Well, they could replace. I mean, we can't predict who's going to do what in terms of weapons, but
he's amazing.
Yeah, I still think I'm going to go with him, but it's close. I mean, really, the difference between Mahomes and even going all the way down to Burrow is not that wide.
It's not going to be Daniel Jones. That's for sure. And hey, PJ says Fields is a baller.
We don't know that. I don't know how we know that. I'm not sure.
Talon wants to know if Deshaun Watson has to be traded this year, and where does his value go when he is traded?
I mean, I can't imagine that this plays out for another year with him on the Texans again. Like, is that really going to be what happens? I just cannot see that being possible. They've obviously moved on. Yeah. I just cannot see that continuing. So my guess is he's going to be traded this year no matter what. I don't know. I mean, it just seems like the legal situation has to resolve itself, right?
Right. And is it going to? I mean, I don't know that I've seen a recent update that makes me think that we're any closer to getting done.
I've heard some recent updates that there's going to be an update soon, but I don't know. What does that mean? What that could mean? That could literally mean anything. That's not helpful, right? Is that helpful? Is that a helpful piece of information? No. So,
I can tell you that my announcement is that we are either going to know or not know very soon.
I agree.
One of those two things.
I agree.
Blake drafted Fields, still has faith, has shown glimpses in the fantasy value. Yeah, that's the thing is I think if he is starting, he's going to be a good fantasy quarterback.
I agree with that mostly.
It's just a matter of, like you're saying, who comes in there and, how much are we going to blame on his former coach?
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Is it too late to trade away Aaron Jones?
Way too late.
Too late to get anything of a lot of value. Yeah.
You realize that AJ Dillon led the Packers in rushing yards this year, right?
I know. Talon, yeah, I think so. You can't sit him all year and then not deal him. Yeah, I guess that's the thing is, I guess you can. They could have. Are you going to sell? Are they going to sell him based on what they can get with the legal trouble still hanging over his head? Because that is a less return, right? So they're waiting for this thing to be resolved, and then it's just a matter of can we get resolved? Get it resolved. I don't know.
I think eventually it'll be resolved.
Tyler for the New York Giants GM is going to work on the campaign for you.
I'll consider it.
New York, what about that? How about that? New York media versus Tyler Karp. I don't know.
So you'd be surprised, actually, at how much in that grad program I was taught on how to deal with the media. And then I just decided that I would ignore everything I learned coming on all of these shows and just do it my way. And it's worked for me. But, I still remember what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Even though I ignore it all the time. I understand what you're supposed to do.
Derek says that Love stats are better than Rodgers. Which stats? He threw almost as many interceptions with 10 times less yards.
I don't understand what.
And I don't.
What were we talking about there? I don't. Yeah,
maybe there's an advanced stat.
That must be, yeah, but no, Jordan Love is terrible.
Yeah, I don't know what's. I'm trying to look through here.
I think that Rodgers and the Packers have patched up their differences, and I think that Jordan Love, I don't even know what's going to happen to him.
I'm trying to see his sack rate. Maybe that's better.
I don't know. I mean, what's even going to happen to Jordan Love? I think that's an interesting discussion.
Yeah. 22 years old. Yeah, 36. He's 58% passing, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. No, his numbers are not better than Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, Derek. Let me know where I'm wrong if I am. What is fair value for DeAndre Hopkins going into his age? What age 30?
30. Yeah, June 92.
What type of player plus type of pick? What about just a pick straight up?
Yeah, good luck with it. You're not getting. We're well past the point where you're getting a relevant player and a relevant pick. I mean, I have no interest in DeAndre Hopkins. So, players who are turning 30, who are starting with injuries, I mean, what was the last player who did that?
No, I think
who was the last star player around that age who suddenly actually missed a bunch of games due to injury, and then oops, that player wasn't good anymore. Who does that sound like? Julio Jones.
That's who I keep thinking of.
Right. And are those players comparable in terms of skill level? I think Julio's a little better, but maybe Hopkins has one less year in the tank. He's a better quarterback. Yeah. That might help.
Steve says, good evening, fellas. Tyler, I traded 2022 picks 103, 105, and 203 and got back Jonathan Taylor and T. Higgins. It's pretty good.
That's an excellent trade. No matter the format, that's ridiculous.
What are your thoughts considering I would have gotten Treylon Burks and possibly Kenneth Walker? You did good. Doesn't matter who you got. Yeah, Miami had a decision to make Tua or Flores. I've heard people say that. I guess
I don't think that's true. I think the decision was between Flores and Greer, and they chose wrong.
I heard Flores is going to Chicago. I did see that he interviewed there, I think today, which could be interesting. I kind of
think that after the nonsense and disorganization, disarray of Matt Nagy, having the opposite of that might be a good idea.
Yeah, I agree. I want to know who his coordinators are. That would, yeah, that's something I would be looking for. Marcus, 1 QB, DJ Moore, or the 107 and 2 2023 seconds.
More still. Easily, actually. Easily.
PJ Kennedy, where does Jimmy G go?
Washington would be probably the first destination that comes to mind.
New York Jets?
No. Zach Wilson looked better the last few weeks. He's not one and done. The current coach and general manager will not survive Zach Wilson failing. So
yeah,
he's going to stay. I mean, Washington is where I've had my eye on for Jimmy G the whole time. Because that's the one place he can go where he's a clear upgrade that no one's going to go to Washington. Washington is not going to get Rodgers, not going to get Watson. No one wants to go there because it's the worst franchise. They're the ones with the lawsuit hanging over their heads. Like no one's going to want to go there. So I think that they're going to have to settle for someone like Jimmy G. I mean, where else is Jimmy G going to go? There aren't that many openings.
It doesn't always work out like this, but I always think about when I think about a quarterback changing teams or somebody like that, like where does he have history? And that's why I mentioned the Jets. You're right; they probably just stick with
they're not going to do that.
But he also was there with the Patriots, and there's quite a few Patriots ex-coaches that are roaming around the league. Makes you wonder if they check in with the 49ers. Does Flores go somewhere?
He has to go somewhere where he's a clear upgrade. I mean, the Steelers also are another option. The Steelers in Washington. I just don't see him going to even Carolina. I mean, is he an upgrade over Sam Darnold? Yes. Is he going to make Carolina great? No. So I think he's only going to go to somewhere where they have no other choice. Denver would be another one if they strike out because Denver has nobody.
Yeah. What if Denver were to bring him in and hire this young up and coming offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels to be their coach?
I don't want Jimmy Garoppolo as more than a back end QB2 no matter what.
Kidding. Local liability, y'all running this show through the off season.
Yeah.
What off season? Because there's
no off season. The show started in the off season.
Yeah, we've got as much news to dissect and talk about right now as we've had in like a few months, honestly.
Seems that way, yeah.
David, what am I doing with my aging vets on a contending team that came up short? Hate that. Mixon, Connor. Let's real quick on any of these. Let's just say sell, hold on these. Mixon.
I mean, any running back that age, that high price is always a sell to me.
Connor.
I mean, Connor, I'm fine trying to sell, but that one more of a hold.
Stephon Diggs.
Oh, Stephon Diggs is a hard sell to me. I want to cash out on Diggs.
Tyreek Hill.
I'm fine holding Hill, but if I can get a monster offer, I'll move him.
Terry McLaurin.
McLaurin is a sell unless you're in a league of everyone who feels the way I do, and then he would be a hold.
Oh, and
Waller was the biggest
Darren
sell of
Waller.
all.
Yeah,
No interest.
that's your guy you want to get rid of.
Yeah. I mean, I have no interest in Darren Waller, so he can go.
Dynasty Vipers chiming in. It's Taco Tuesday. That's right. By the way, if you haven't already, just put your Twitter handle in here. I'm going to get you a spot in this league. It's going to go to a good cause, and it's not going to cost you anything. You have a chance to win some prizes and represent Team Ask DLF in the Viper tournament there.
I love it.
Yeah, Aaron says Amari Cooper. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Sorry, Aaron, but good to see you here in the chat. Yeah, sell Mike Evans, Hopkins, Cooper, all Pittsburgh wide receivers.
Only not Johnson.
Yeah, I don't want to sell Johnson. He's good.
Johnson is a buy for me, actually.
Giddy up. Love that name. Yeah, what David said, aging vets, and I took a second. Yeah, these are Zeke, Mixon, Chub, Tyreek, CD, Chase, Swift on the up and coming part of roster. Okay.
Yeah, I really think that Zeke is about to be like not relevant. I know he finished the RB6. We're gonna hear about that forever, but if you look at his points per game, if you look at the games he played recently, that tells what's most relevant. What happened a long time ago, or what happened most recently? What tells you more about next season? Which one of those two things? I think probably what happened most recently. So
yeah,
Zeke to me, I think Zeke's not going to have any value a year from now. So
Mike asks 106 or DK
Metcalf
by a lot.
Yeah.
Luke Jukum, if you don't have one of the elite side ends, what are you doing with the position this offseason? Trading away elite assets to acquire an elite one? Other guys you're comfortable with? Rookie draft? Good question.
Well, I mean, I would try to trade for Kyle Pitts, but that might not be possible. But his value is lower than I have it for a lot of people. So I'd consider that. Otherwise, I mean, I don't mind paying up for Mark Andrews either. I actually kind of like Andrews' price. If that's a no, then I mean, I don't mind the prices. I actually seem to like the prices on tight ends, honestly.
Yeah.
So, like, I like the acquisition price for both Hawkinson and Goddard. So, I don't know. It looks like I'm acquiring a tight end then. Looks like I'm looking to acquire one.
We're so far behind on these.
Yeah, we're not going to catch up.
All day. Thoughts on Robert Woods?
Hey, he's turning 30 in April. I'm coming off an ACL tear. I'm good. I'm not interested.
FF Lefty signed up for the Dynasty Vipers Playoff League. Awesome. Never used MFL, but it's easy to make an account. Everyone should get in there. I agree with you. Is Amon St. Brown becoming a sell with all the hype? Seems like it's getting into crazy stratosphere.
You can get the ridiculous value, sure, but I have him right in the middle of what I think the crazy people are. But people just have their tribes, and that's why I exist. There's pour cold water on all of them.
I love Amon-Ra. You should not. Look, anybody can be a sell.
Anybody can be a sell if the price is right. Every player is available, right? I mean, that's how you play, right? Every player is available.
Mason, Rojo plus 203 or Penny in a 12-team super flex. Interesting.
Chart says take the pick. Oh, for now, I'll go with the chart.
The pick is probably the most valuable part of this.
I just can't see that Penny's ever worth a first in super flex. So all the upsides with the pick.
I disagree. Giddy up. Who says to flip Amon St. Brown ASAP? I
don't think you have to.
No, you didn't pay much for him. Like, reap the rewards for a little bit.
No issue in holding him. He's not a must move at all.
I don't think he's gained enough value where you're getting a first for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think
he can in places for sure.
I just don't. I don't know. Maybe look, if you can start getting that, great.
I think you certainly can for sure.
Will Gibson ever become the fantasy stud McCaffrey is, or just annual injury prone McCaffrey? No.
This was the dumbest thing that I heard all offseason is that Gibson was going to be McCaffrey. There's one McCaffrey. Like, there's one McCaffrey, one player who scores like 28, 29, 30 fantasy points per game. There has never been another, really, in the recent era, in the Dynasty era. There hasn't been a player like that. There won't be another player like that.
No, he's in the argument for like best fantasy player ever. Like,
but to average that level of scoring, he's an outlier. Right. He's the one.
Yeah.
There are no players like that. So the answer to this question is, of course not.
Some more minor talk. Let's get to this. Zane, 14 teams Superflex. Is there anything outside of an outrageous overpay that would make you want to move a top 7 quarterback?
In a 14-team Superflex, unless you're willing to give me some blood, you can't have them.
No, you got Herbert and Lamar. Just hold them. You're in a good spot.
The answer to this question is in a 14-team Superflex, you hold on to every quarterback you have with your life. So, no, don't. It would take an outrageous overpay that might include souls or blood or something in those lines.
Since we're getting close on time, I'm gonna very briefly mention these. Jacob, just in reading your question, take value. We're always gonna say take value with those picks, regardless of your roster. Drew has a big trade. Which side? Saquon, Lockett, Rondale, Ertz, Boyd, or Waddle, Harris, Fant, Rager?
A lot of players.
Waddle's going to be your most valuable player here.
Yeah, Harris and Lockett are kind of similar. They're close. I'd rather have Harris. But Harrison is kind of similar to Lockett and Ertz, I guess. Fant and Boyd are not that different.
Is this the best you can get for Saquon right now?
Probably not. This is probably not the best approach.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Gun to my head, I'll take the Waddle side, though. I don't really want to do that, though.
Folks seem so down on Zeke. Yeah, RB6. It's kind of what you were saying. We're going to hear a lot about the RB6.
More down on Zeke. Zeke looks washed. Zeke looks completely washed. So I couldn't be more down on him.
Most likely to have a starting job next year, Mariota, Trubisky, or Winston?
Winston.
Yeah, Winston's going to have a job. He did enough.
I think so. I think he has a starting job.
Coley could be fired. I'm team Coley.
I don't see it because I don't see him being fired because I'm not sure what he did to deserve being fired. Now, I might fire him if I were the general manager, but I don't predict it.
What wide receivers would you trade AJ Brown for straight up?
Chase, Jefferson, and Lamb, and that's it.
10 teams Superflex. Mac Jones or Baker and Mike Williams. Are you going to trade for Baker?
No.
Give me Mac Jones.
I'll take Mac Jones.
Just got a deal done yesterday. 1 QB, full PPR, traded Najee and 212 plus 302. Both meaningless in my opinion. For Javonte, 101 and a 2023 first.
Can I have an invite to this league, please?
Yeah.
I'll take the Javonte side.
Patrick, you've been living right, buddy. You've been doing the right things.
I'll take my invite to this league, please.
Yeah. Great deal. I don't even know what to say. Honestly, you probably could first for
this is ridiculous trade. Let's move on.
Jacobs or Gibson in Dynasty PPR?
Gibson.
Yeah, I think it's closer, but I think
I didn't say it was that far off, but let's take Gibson.
12 team Superflex, 112 and 202 for Pittman in the Superflex.
Fair. It's a fair deal, but I will stick with Pittman barely. Very close.
Yeah, it's a fair deal. I'd stick with Pittman too. I just think Pittman has a better chance of being a stud than who you're going to get at 112 and 202.
Yeah, but this trade is fair. I'll stick with Pittman though.
Yeah. What are your predictions for the playoffs? Thank you guys for the help. You have a Super Bowl prediction?
I've been saying that I think the Bucs will win anyway, but I don't invest too much time in thinking about this.
Do you have something you want to have happen? Who do you want to see win the Super Bowl?
I don't care. I'm fantasy. I'm fantasy only. I don't care. If it were the Giants, I would care. But I haven't had anything to root for the Giants in my fantasy career. So
I want the Bengals to win. I announced.
I want the Giants to win the Super Bowl, but I mean, come on.
I announced on
a
Twitter
while since that's been on the table.
Since the Saints have been eliminated, I am now a Houday fan. Number 1 Dynasty rookie wide receiver. We're not there yet. I'm not.
Yeah, we're not there yet. It's gonna be a couple more weeks.
FF Lefty says Ja Burks. Me too, Lefty. Gonna run a sub 4.4. Yeah. A lot of good. How about? Oh, here we go. Michael Thomas, 110 and 3.3 for D Hop.
But this is going out of the frying pan and into the fire. So no, I'm not adding a first round pick to go to DeAndre Hopkins. That's not happening.
So just so you guys know, we're not quite there in terms of our ready to talk rookies yet. We are going to be here in the next little while. Picks, things like that. But look, most of your drafts are not going to be for a little while. We're just not quite there yet in terms of being ready to talk about these. We will.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
I have Dak and Mac went back to back. I have Dak and Mac and went back to back. I like it. Traded Kyler away. I'm with Tyler. Who needs QB in a 1 QB? Yeah.
I just don't value QB in a 1 QB anymore.
1.6 and 2.10 for Waddle. Let's say Superflex to make it interesting.
Yeah, in 1 QB it's Waddle easily. In Superflex, still Waddle.
Yeah, this is partially why I'm saying what I'm saying. Lots can change here. We've got a lot of stuff to sort through, and we will. Chris Godwin for 2022 108 and Allen Robinson 10-team PPR Superflex Dynasty.
Man, I'll take the. I don't like it, but I'll take the pick in Robinson. Sucks.
Derek says, "Haha, my bad Love's first 2 seasons are better than Rodgers." Yeah, I don't know that Rodgers didn't play, did he?
Brett Favre
was in the middle of setting the all-time starting record or something, wasn't he?
Love looks so bad.
He looks bad.
I'm sorry. Love sucks. They need to make up with Rodgers if they haven't already, and I think they have.
I think is what he's trying to say. Out of the free agent wide receivers this year, who do you think would be highest demand?
Still Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
If he hits the market. If they franchise him again, Mike Williams, I think, would be the highest.
Christian Kirk?
Not as high as Mike Williams.
Michael Gallup?
Not after the injury.
Juju?
No. I think we'd rather have
Adams,
Kirk.
I guess, but
Adams is not leaving. They're going to franchise him. But Kirk, I think, is under the radar for a big contract. I think Mike Williams is going to be the big one, or the bigger of that bunch. Obviously, Godwin is the prize.
We are in some overtime, but we are going to see if we can fast forward.
We're catching up, yeah.
Yeah, this person offered me AJ Brown and Lenny for my Devontae Adams and Najee Harris.
No, Adams and Harris.
No thanks. Jimmy G, the Steelers. Yeah, I mean,
I like that.
They're going to be connected to every quarterback, I guess. But there's going to be a quarterback musical chairs this offseason. I don't think people realize how many teams want a new quarterback versus how many quarterbacks would be an upgrade for them. And there's going to be musical chairs, people left without a chair.
No, I get that.
Yeah, offseason is the season to me. Awesome, Ja Webb. If you're like Ja Webb and you want to be in that league, I am starring that one. I'm going to reach out to you on Twitter, Ja Webb. How do you feel about ATN? We talked a little bit about that.
We talked about it. Yeah, I like him, but I might try to sell.
What's up? Yeah, what's up,
Ryan?
I love you, Ryan. Catch the show. Ryan's the only person that's been on. No, him and Addison are the only other people that have been on the show.
Addison did the show with me.
Yeah, appreciate you, Ryan. We did this.
We talked about that.
All team Superflex. I have Dak and Trey Lance. would you move Carson Wentz? Good question for Tyler here. If so, what's his value?
Failure. I mean, I value failure in between another failure. Between one, and by the way, he's a lot responsible for failure. Who was responsible for that loss this week? That loss that prevented them from making the playoffs. Who are we going to blame for that? I think we're going to blame failure. So yeah, I have him valued between the 111 and the 112 in Superflex, and I would love to get rid of him.
Any thoughts on Deshaun Watson's trade value right now?
Well, and one QB, it's nothing because he's not worth anything. In Superflex, I mean, he's still worth a lot. He's still worth multiple firsts.
One QB, I would say, I don't know about this high second round pick. I don't think I would take.
No, definitely not.
But Superflex, yeah,
still worth multiple firsts. As crazy as that is, that's what quarterbacks are worth in Superflex.
Bad metaphor. I wanted to know if we still like Gibson. Yeah. So no,
I like him, but the ceiling's kind of gone.
I think, John, I think you got caught up in the middle of like all the offseason people last year comparing him to
and I just
McCaffrey.
And it's like one of the things where I was the most confident and the most right. So we hear about that one a lot.
Joe Webb, I'm a Cowboys fan. I traded Zeke before the season, him and Kyler to get Chase in a 1 QB.
In a 1 QB, I love that.
Yep. Mike isn't sure Zeke is washed, injured, yes, but that's part of it. Yeah.
He's fine, but like, look at it this. I mean, we go from, if you look at it, 24 carries per game in 2017, then 20.3, then 18.8, then 16.3, then 13.9. You see a pattern there. Receptions per game down to 2.8 this year. Again, down. We're seeing a trajectory. I mean, yards per target, 4.4 measly yards per target. That's it for a run, even for running back. That's awful. I mean, he's not efficient on the touches he received. He actually did a little bit better in terms of carry efficiency this year. But, that was with only 13.9 touches. You think that's going to go up again? What if next year it goes down to 10? It follows the same projection going down to 10. And then is Ezekiel Elliott on 10 carries and 2 receptions a game going to be fantasy viable? No.
Yeah.
You think he's going to score 10 touchdowns again? He scored in 2018. He scored 6 touchdowns on 304 carries. I'm not sure he's going to score 10 touchdowns again. He did it on 237 carries. I think that's unlikely. So I don't know. I am just kind of out on Zeke. The value's gone. And he's going to turn 27. I don't know. I think they should give Tony Pollard more work.
I am with you. So Giddy Up's listening. He's hearing that you couldn't possibly be more down on Zeke, but
yeah,
do you put that in terms of trade value? So do you have an idea of where you would?
I mean, I would. You're not gonna like it. I mean, you can get more than this, but like I would, even in a 1 QB, I take the 110 or higher for Zeke. I just don't want him. I just don't want him. Period. I mean, his 2 20 carry games. He had really, if you look at Zeke's game log, he had 2 big games, 2 good games, and then there was a third game. They were all in a row. Weeks 3, 4, and 5. 95, 143, and 110 yards, and a total of 4 touchdowns in those games. And then 2 of those he had 3 receptions each, and there was another receiving touchdown. Since then, his production has been kind of not so great. I mean, since then we're talking about, what? I mean, 45 yards a game, 12.7 carries. Since then, something happened then. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, injured 2 years in a row, getting older. It's just it's that point.
If I read you this stat line, 12.7 carries a game, 45.8 yards a game, 0.4 touchdowns, and 3.2 receptions a game for 19.3 yards with 1 total touchdown in 12 games receiving. That sound like a player you want in fantasy as more than a middling RB2? No. Zeke was the RB6. Zeke was the RB6, but he has not been a fantasy RB1 type player since week 5.
No.
So I care a lot more about what happened between week 6 and 18 moving forward than weeks 1 through 5.
I think from here on out, you're hoping you get a Melvin Gordon kind of finish to his career.
Yeah, I think that's what you should be expecting. So I'm just going to have him way lower, and that it just is what it is for me.
12 teams, Superflex PPR. What would your first round?
Not there. You're going to be a while before that. That's going to be a while.
Kittle plus what equals Pitts?
I mean, maybe a first at this point. They're far apart for me.
I think it's substantial enough that
Substantial that you're not making this kind of trade. I don't think.
Carson Wentz
Yes.
won't
Failure.
somebody responded with WINTZ Carson Wentz.
Well, I haven't tried that one.
West Coast, thanks guys. Have a great week. Thank you, West Coast Chiefer. Should offer Devontae Adams and a second round pick for AJ Brown. Do that.
I'll do it.
Absolutely. Comments are wild today. Such activity. Yeah, appreciate all of the questions. Just really one more after this, Kent. Thank you for the help. Looking forward to seeing you back. And thank you. Make sure you do that. Andrew, what running backs would you try to trade Mixon down for?
Not likely that it's a running back I'm looking at 400. I mean, maybe, if I could trade, I guess Josh Jacobs could be someone I could consider. I could turn Mixon into I don't know. What if you could turn Mixon into Jacobs and Elijah Moore? What about that? Could you get some running back production back in Mixon and you start over with a really young receiver and Moore? Would that be something you could be amenable to? Is that an idea for something reasonable that you could possibly get done? Maybe that.
Yeah. Mixon, I think, is still a difference maker. He's tough.
You're not going to get more than that. You're not going to do better. You're not going to get a running back better than Mixon or a wide receiver better than Moore in that deal. I don't think. I don't know.
What about Elijah Mitchell?
And Elijah Moore?
Yeah.
You might be able to do that.
Yeah, something like that, maybe.
But I think people still prefer Mitchell to Jacobs. Those are close.
Yeah.
Those are close.
Well, I think people think that Elijah Mitchell is he's a rookie. He's way younger than Josh Jacobs, and he's
not.
A couple of months younger.
But Elijah Moore is the player I want to target, and then maybe you can get Elijah Moore and J.K. Dobbins for Mixon. Maybe.
Oh, I like that.
Maybe. Or Elijah Moore and Cam Akers. I would also consider that. I like Akers better than Dobbins.
Yeah, I like the way you think here, FF Lefty. So
yeah.
That'll do it for our second installment of the non-point scoring season here at Ask DLF, Taco Tuesday, Waffle Wednesday, wherever you are. And you're watching this. If you're watching this after the fact, I want you to send me your information so I can get you in this league. It's Dynasty Vipers are doing it. DLF's donating to the prize pool memberships. Lots of great things. Send me your information so I can get you in the league. I'm covering your spot. So
and don't forget that the article is coming out. I don't want to forget about that.
Yes, make sure you are a member of Dynasty Football, and you can check out.
Yeah, there were some good questions in the chat that I kind of passed on or was a little short with. A discussion of Zeke, I think, more of a discussion of Zeke than was given. That's something we could do. A little bit more of a discussion about Jimmy G. Potential landing spots is something I kind of could consider. And then maybe I want to talk a little bit about Jordan Love, and Waddle came up a lot. So clearly people are interested in Waddle. And then maybe something about the coaching situation in Miami. We didn't really address that. So we did, but not really. So a bunch of things that I can write about. It's not going to be a very long article. I just want to do something there.
Some really good things here. So with that, make sure you're following at DL Football and following along with everything that happens during the offseason.
Yes, definitely. You got to follow the main account for sure.
Got to do that. Follow Tyler. Follow me. Let's have a great non-point scoring, quote unquote, off season. There's no off season.
There is no off season.
And we will see y'all next